Suzanne, who will say
Sorry, I
hi.
forgot to mention we're recording as well. Go ahead, Carolina. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we represent EDPNC in Europe. What it means in practice, we support companies from North Carolina across different sectors interested in support in market entry. So be it in market analysis, finding business partners, assistance at different trade shows, including Medica. This is our main role, and we are excited to continue our collaboration and meet further North Carolina companies and assist them in their journey to Europe. And with that, I will pass over to Suzanne for a quick hello as well.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Carolina. Yeah, it's a big pleasure to meet all of you online. My name is Suzanne. I am as well working at HP International as a consultant, and have been working for more than 2 years with EDPNC. And something as well, maybe important and interesting. Carolina and I will be visiting North Carolina next month, and we will be visiting doing the roadshow together with EDPNC, and we're very much looking forward to it and would be happy to meet some of you if you're as well interested in joining this event. Thank you so much, Melissa, for the introduction.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. A reminder to those that might not yet know, the week of July 15th is when we are having our annual Go Global Roadshow. As Suzanne mentioned, our representatives from our international trade consulting firms will be here in person. We'll be riding a bus to 4 different locations in North Carolina. If you're interested in in-person meetings, please reach out to me. My email is in the chat. So then without further ado, I am going to let Jan lead the panel. So Jan is the health tech and life sciences expert at Choose Paris region. His focus is guiding life sciences companies looking to explore the large Paris ecosystem. And there are a lot of key vibrant ecosystem partners that he'll talk about today. So thank you so much, Jan, for being here and leading the panel today. Go ahead and take it over, and I will stop sharing my screen so that you can share yours.
Thank you very much, Melissa, for the introduction. Good morning to everyone. I hope you're having a great start of the day. So indeed, we have been in touch with EDNPC for some months already, and we wanted to present to you a bit the opportunities for life science companies that exist within the Paris region. So we'll start to share my screen to show you a bit what we prepared for you today. So I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, we see it very well. That's great.
Perfect. So the idea today is to present you the opportunities for biotech, medtech, and digital health companies within the Paris region. We also invited 2 speakers that will discuss their specific subjects. I will introduce them in a minute. But before we start, I wanted to give a brief introduction about who we are at Choose Paris region and what is our purpose. So we are a non-profit agency, and our mission is to promote the Paris region internationally in order to attract foreign companies from different sectors. Myself, I will be more focused on the life science sector, but we also cover mobility, deep tech, finance, cosmetics, etc. And the idea is we provide different services to companies starting from giving them information on the ecosystem, giving them information on business events that happen in the Paris region. We can also enable connections with key actors, as Melissa was saying, for example, with clusters, with a network of companies, hospital, when we talk about biotech and medtech. And then whenever you are ready to make the move, you want to establish a footprint in the Paris region in France, we will be able also to provide more operational services. My colleague Cécile will talk a bit more about this aspect of things in a minute too. But the idea is to connect you also with partners, law firms, banks, brokers, to help you also on the operational side of expanding to another country. And of course, we don't stop supporting you whenever you set foot in the Paris region. We continue working with international companies if they have reinvestment projects. For example, you could start with a commercial office and then decide to have also R&D activities within the region or manufacturing activities, and we will still be there to support those projects. So today for Choose Paris region, you will have 2 speakers. So I will mainly focus on the health tech market, and I will be happy also to answer your questions at the end if you have specific questions. Then my colleague Cécile will talk a bit more about the different steps on how to set up a company in France, and also what are the incentives available. And then we decided to invite 2 speakers to provide information first on cultural differences between France and the US. So we invited one of our partners from Gaps Move, Thibaut, who will show a bit what they provide with Gaps Move in terms of how to identify the cultural differences between different countries. And today will be specifically between France and the US. And our last speaker will be Clément Lapierre from Biolabs. So you probably know Biolabs in the US, who's providing a co-working space for biotech companies. They are especially present on the East Coast of the US, and they opened 2-3 years ago their first operations in Europe, and they started in the Paris region. So Clément will share a bit about their journey in France. So let's start with the presentation of the health market in France. So to give you some key figures at the national level for biopharma, let's start with biopharma. So France is currently the 5th biggest market in the world, the 2nd in Europe. And the Paris region is where you find the most companies within that specific vertical. And we also have 50% of direct jobs linked to the industry. So we are the first place for biopharma right now in France. Same thing for medtech, medical devices. France is still the 2nd biggest market in Europe. And within the Paris region, we have more than 1,500 companies, which makes us the 3rd hub in Europe for medical devices companies. And that specific industry account for 88,000 direct jobs. You have also here some figures regarding the IVD market. So that's a specific segment of the medtech market. And these are the figures for both France and the Paris region. So you can see that more than half of the activity is located within our region. Regarding the key actors that you should have in mind, these are probably the three most important ones. First, you have the HAS, the Autorité de Santé, which is the agency that will provide guidelines for the medical ecosystem in France. So they will evaluate different criteria when it comes to standards of care, and they will also give the decision regarding the reimbursement for drugs and for medical devices. Then we have the ANSM. Basically, it's the same as the FDA, but for France. So they are the one giving the market authorizations for both drugs and medical devices, and also cosmetics and other products. And then we have a newcomer with the Agence du Numérique en Santé. So after COVID, the government in France really launched a new strategy when it comes to digital health, with new agencies created. So that's the case for Agence du Numérique en Santé. And that agency created a specific platform called Genius, which is a one-stop shop for digital health innovators that want to learn a bit about the regulation in France, what are the reimbursement pathways, how to get the CE mark for digital medical devices, and so on. So if you're in that field and you're looking to have a product launched in France, I really recommend to check the Genius platform. We wanted to talk a bit about marketing authorization and reimbursement for drugs and medical devices. So here you have a snapshot of how things are done in France for market authorization for drugs. So it takes around 210 days to get the authorization from either the ANSM if you want only to sell in France, or EMA if you want your product to be sold on the European market. The authorities will evaluate especially the evidence of efficacy of your product and also toxicity. And they will base their evaluation on the different clinical trials and the data that you will have collected during the different clinical phases that you had. Next, when it comes to reimbursement, and that is very important, and it's a big difference between the US and France. If you really want to tackle the French market, it's really important to get your product reimbursed. So that specific process is with the HAS, and then the price level and the level of co-payment will be negotiated between the CEPS from the government and the Assurance Maladie for the percentage of reimbursement they will have. And this depends a lot on the characteristics of the disease that you target, on what's already available on the market. So they will compare the efficacy with other available therapeutics. And they will also evaluate the benefit for society. So what's the target population? What's also the impact on the healthcare system? That's also very important to get your product reimbursed. For medical devices, it's a bit similar. So for the market authorization, it takes about 18 months. And usually what you need is to get the CE mark. So that's European certification. And for that, you will have to use a notified body. So there are different organizations in Europe that can support you in getting your product certified and to be able to sell within the European market. And then for the reimbursement, it's still with the HAS, and you have different pathways depending on where your medical device is used. Is it in an ambulatory setting or within a healthcare organization? And depending on that, you will have different pathways, and your product will have to be registered differently in order to get the reimbursement. If you need more information on that, these organizations, the HAS, ANSM, have different material online that explain in detail what you have to do and how you can get support. Finally, and to kickstart also about the ecosystem itself, France has really put health as a priority within its innovation plan, and launched in 2022 the France Innovation Santé 2030. So it's an innovation plan with 7 billion euros of investment within different sectors and different aspects of healthcare. A lot of that budget will be allocated to research on biotechnology and new biotherapies, and how we can also increase our biomanufacturing capacity. And then a lot of investment will be allocated to our new digital health strategy and on how we can develop medical devices of the future. There's also a lot of investment around clinical research, how we can position France as a leader in that field as well. Now let's talk a bit more about the ecosystem within the Paris region. So currently, the Paris region is one of the top tier life science cluster within Europe. It has been strongly favored by big pharma companies, especially for their European headquarter or their French headquarter. As you can see, a lot of them are located in the west of Paris, especially the northwest of Paris. And you can see the big pharma groups. Most of them are here within the Paris region. We also have a very dynamic startup ecosystem with companies in different area of biotech, especially right now. We see a lot of companies doing gene and cell therapy. And we have also a lot of promising companies within drug discovery, especially powered by AI. You probably know about Okin, which is a French-American company, and which is disrupting the world of drug discovery using artificial intelligence. One thing that maybe lack within our ecosystem is the manufacturing capacity. Right now, we only have 2 CDMOs within the region. One is called Hyposkesi, and they do viral vectors. They are part of SK Pharmteco, the Korean group. And the second is Cell4Cure. They were recently acquired by a French CDMO called Sequence, and they develop cell therapy products. So we are looking right now for new manufacturing capacities for different biologics, especially because these companies are mid-sized companies. And since a lot of products are going into clinical trial, our biotech startup need to work with CDMO, and we would like for them to work with companies that are located within our ecosystem. If you want to learn a bit more about where are the hotspots for especially biotherapy and bioproduction, we have this interactive map online. So I think I will share the slide with Melissa afterwards, so you have everything. And you will be able to see who are the different players within gene therapy, for example, what are the major R&D centers within the Paris region for biotech research. So it's a very interesting material if you want to learn more about our ecosystem. Then when it comes to the cluster, and it's something really important for our ecosystem, our startups really like the proximity effect. That's why we saw throughout the years some cluster emerged, and you can see them here on this map. Maybe I will start by introducing Medicine, which is not really a cluster in the scientific sense. It's more of a network of companies. So it's the community for health tech companies within Paris region. They federate the whole ecosystem by organizing events, networking events, so that everyone can discuss and maybe create some new partnerships. And they also support the companies in getting some funding, in accessing call for projects at the national or European level. And also they help to structure the ecosystem at the regional level. Then we have more classical clusters, starting with Paris-Saclay in the southwest of Paris. Paris-Saclay is similar to, we call it our Silicon Valley, because that's where a lot of R&D is done in France. About 20% of public and private R&D is done within that specific cluster. So they not only focus on biotech, they also have a lot of deep tech, mobility, energy there. But the biotech ecosystem is really strong. They have probably around 200 startups evolving within that cluster. And they become more and more attractive. So Biolabs recently opened an incubator there. We have the Servier group that relocated all its R&D within that cluster as well. And they are very interesting because they also host the top universities within the Paris region with University Paris-Saclay and Institut Polytechnique. Then the two other clusters I want to mention are the PSCC, the Paris-Saclay Cancer Cluster. It's our new oncology cluster that was created 2 years ago. And they chose this location because there's one of the top cancer hospital in Europe within that area. And so they are building right now about 150,000 square meters of lab space to welcome companies within a campus. And the organization, the PSCC, will support startups in getting their product to market by providing access to clinical trials, access to investors, patient data, and lab space directly on the campus. And finally, in the very south of Paris at Évry, we have the Génopole. It's our most historic biocluster. It was created in the 90s. And mainly the companies that operate at the genopole or around genomics. So we have a lot of gene therapy company, diagnostic companies, and they are also now developing the food tech and agri-tech part. They have around 60 companies right now, including the CDMO Hyposkesi and some top R&D labs on gene therapy. So this is the main hotspots within the Paris region. If you have specific questions about that, I will be happy to answer them. Also, when companies decide to expand to the Paris region, what they really are interested about is our research ecosystem. We are known worldwide for our research quality. And in healthcare, one of the most important organization is the APHP. That's the hospital network for the Paris region. It accounts for 38 hospitals. Some of them are ranked in the top 10, top 20 hospital in the world. And that's a very important organization in terms of research. A lot of clinical trials are launched within one of these the hospitals of the APHP. As you can see, there's more than 4,000 research projects ongoing. So if you want to do research within Paris region, you might have to deal with the APHP at some point. Then we have some more specific research institute on specific therapeutic area. And depending on the product or the drug you are developing, you will probably find a research institute that work on your subjects. So we have major research institutions on genetic diseases, cancer, neurology, vision, cardiometabolism, infectious diseases, and more. So you will probably find a good partner for your company within the Paris region. Also, companies, when they come to France, are looking to tackle our talent pool. And within Paris region, you have the largest talent pool within Europe, with more than 700,000 students that are getting degrees from top universities. And we are also first in Europe for the number of students in science. And when it comes to life science, two of our universities are ranked within the top 50 by the Times Higher Education. So no worries, you will find some good talents within our ecosystem. And I will now let my colleague Cécile take over the presentation to discuss.
You can maybe still share the slide.
As you prefer.
Yeah, it's easier if you share the slide than because I don't have to on my. Thank you, Yann. So I'm going to present how to set up and how Choose Paris region can help you set up and thrive in the Paris region. So you can, next. When it comes to doing business, you might at some point want to hire some people on the ground to develop the business. So there are several solutions for that. The first one that I present is the short-term solution. It's the liaison office. So you can recruit, you can test the market, and with that solution, you don't have any company taxes. In the same time, you cannot really conduct commercial activities, meaning signing contract, but it's super easy and really interesting in the first time. And then when you want to expand and have a longer term solution, conduct commercial activities, sign contract with the French companies, there is other solution that can come to you. Either open a branch, which is a solution where you are still legally bound to your headquarter, or open a subsidiary, which is really the permanent solution for France. You are, I mean, the more stable solution. You are legally independent. You will have to choose whether you want to raise fund or do IPO. There is several type of subsidiary, but mainly this solution is the one that gives you access to our public financing. So Choose Paris Region has outlined all the steps within the guide Start Here that you see on the screen. And we have a network of legal advisor that can also help you with choosing the right structure regarding your project, and you can connect with them on our platform. So yeah, next. So once you are set up in the Paris region, you can access our grants. I present on this slide the two main grants that are financial solution available all year long. And health, including biotech, medical devices, and silver economy are really in the main area of focus of the Paris region. So we are really interested in financing those type of projects. So on the first line, you see it's the Paris region PMUP. It's an investment aid, and you can get from 55,000 euros up to 250,000 euros. And this aid is really to support projects with, for example, purchase or modernization of equipment. It is also for projects with high added value for the region and that create jobs within the region. We will take into account the ESG criteria, meaning like entrants have to be optimized. You have to think about recycling if you are, within, I don't know, industrial process, for example. So at Choose Paris region, we have also experts that can help you understand whether your project can fit within the PMUP grant. The second solution on the bottom line is InnovUp, and this one is intended for companies that really do R&D and innovation. So we support companies carrying out research, development, and innovation at all stages, and that are within our main area of focus. With this help, you can get up to 500,000 euros in grants and up to 3 million in recoverable advances. It is granted by the region and also by BPI France, which is the French Public Bank of Investment. So that's for this slide. And next. On this slide, I present national key tools. So these one are available for any company that is registered in France. It is research and innovation tax credit. So in a way, you have to fill a form saying, this is my research activities, these are my innovation activities, and you get a tax return on all the expense. It can include either recruitment, payroll, equipment, and all the legal patents. That's what I was looking for, patent and legal activities. So these are for all companies. And the last on the bottom line, you have the Young Innovators Company status, and this one is for young companies that are also doing R&D and called innovative, and you can get exempt from certain taxes and payroll contribution for a period of 8 years. So those two slides is to show you that France and the Paris region are really looking to foster innovation and research within this region, and life sciences totally within the focus area. So yeah, next. So with that transition, we help you set up, we help you access grant, and we also help you relocate, either you or your employees and your family. We have also a lot of information and guides to help you through all those process, international mobilities, understanding our tax and healthcare regime, whether it comes to your family or spouse integration, finding a school for your kids. We have a connection to really help you settle smoothly within the Paris region. So these are also some figures. We have more than 2,000 companies, American companies in the Paris region, more than 14,000 Americans living in the Paris region. And we have a network of American communities in the Paris region. So because sometimes it's easier to start with your own community to settle smoothly in a new country. Next. And yes, this last slide is to show you that we help you and we publish guides that can help you at every step of your way, from understanding our ecosystem to finding, for example, an incubator, accelerator, an R&D hub, building your team. And we really encourage you to come to us whenever you have a project or question about an expansion in the Paris region. Thank you. That's it for me, and I will be happy to answer a question at the end.
Thank you very much, Cécile. And also, if you want a first point of contact with Choose Paris region, since Cécile is based in New York, she can be your point of entry to discuss future expansion within Paris region. Next, we have Thibaut from Gaps Move that will present the Gaps Move tool and also how to apprehend the cultural differences between France and the US. So Thibaut, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Hi, my name is Thibaut. Nice to meet you all. I'm the co-founder of Gaps Move, which is a training organization specialized in cross-cultural management and communication. And we develop an online platform to help our clients to identify their cultural preferences and work better with people from different countries. Well, that being said, I've been asked to speak about the differences between US and France at work within 10 minutes. This is impossible. We need half a day or a full day to speak about these differences because we think we're the same because we come from, well, I would say Western democracies, but we have different ways to communicate, different ways to do business, to sell, to negotiate. You might know that, I'm sure. And there are differences between France and US. So I decided to highlight only 6 of them because again that would take too long to highlight all of them. So I will focus on 6 differences between US and France at work, and I will share it with you. You might not be agree with it, so if you want to say a few words, do not hesitate to activate your mic. But I will present these 6 differences. So the first one is the way we interact together. So difference between US and France. In US, we compare American people to peach. Why peach? Because it's soft in the outside, because American people are very friendly. And when after a while, it might be hard to be really to find real friends in US because you have your private life and you might not want to share it with everyone. That's why yeah, you're like a peach. I have a friend in US who told me once, she's American, she told me I'm friendly with everyone, but I have very few friends. I don't know if you agree with that, but it's hard to I mean, yeah, it's not like in France where we are like more like a coconut, I would say. It's hard in the outside because in France, we might not be as friendly as in US during the first connection, but once we get to know each other, we share everything. We are loyal friends, and you can find real friends in France. So the first one is about the interaction. The following difference is about how people see their job. In US, American people tend to have let's say, a transactional relation to work. You want to make money, right? I mean, you like to do your job, you want to do it well, but the main objective of your work at work is to make money. That's why we have these gold miner on the picture. In France, we are more like knight, meaning that we have a mission that has been given by the king, meaning by the boss, and we want to fulfill this mission. It doesn't mean that we don't like to make money, but the main objective in France is to be engaged, involved in our work like a knight. And then that might be problematic because in France we are very sensitive when we come to criticism at work. So yeah, that's an interesting difference. Another one is about management. In France and in US, we don't have the same definition of management. In US, the manager is like a coach in a football team. He selects the team, he gives the missions, the briefing, and then he lets the team do. I mean, he or she empowers the team and then let them do. In France, the manager is the captain, the best player of the team. He's on the field, and he or she wants to interfere within project. So yeah, we should teach French how to be coaches because it's not natural for them. But yeah, you might see this different if you work in France. The next one is the difference between doers and thinkers. In US, you're doers, people of action. You're acting, then you observe, then you improve. Okay, just like the "Just Do It" Nike slogan. In France, well, we're thinkers. I mean, we like to think, I would say, to argue, to brainstorm, to cogitate, and then we take actions, right? And it's not bad or good. I mean, you might be a doer or thinkers. There's no good or bad behaviors, but these are different behaviors, and you might take into account these differences. The next one is about the way we do feedback to our colleagues or clients or anyone. In US, you have this very good way to do feedback, which is the plus delta. I think that's how you call it, plus delta, meaning that when you do feedback, you might say, this, you do it well, and this, we're going to improve it together, right? Positive feedback, and then the room for improvement. In France, we start with the issues, with the problems. You did that wrong. I mean, that might be very demotivating from someone coming from the US and going to France, because the way we do feedback might be very demotivating for someone from the US. And finally, the last difference among many differences is the way we communicate. And that the difference between explicit communication and implicit communication. On the left side, you have this American cop saying in a very explicit way, walking on the grass is forbidden. And on the right side, you have this French guy, implicit, telling those who respect their environment will avoid walking on the grass. You see, at the end of the day, that's the same message, right? But the way we communicate and the way we want to spread the message is very different. And for us, French people, American people might be a bit rude sometimes, the way they communicate, because they're straightforward, they're explicit. And for an American, French people, what might be a bit maybe hypocritical or hard to understand. So you have to know that, because yeah, if you have to do business in France, we're quite implicit in the way we communicate. So we've seen some differences, but don't be afraid, because all these differences are not a problem. If we get back to these differences, the first one, the difference between the way we interact, the difference between the peach and the coconut, that's okay. I mean, we have a lot of Americans living in France, and they love living in France because they have real friends, and they enjoy living here. So this one is not the problem. The next one, between the gold miner and the knight, they're complementary. I mean, if you have in your team American employees motivated with the bonuses and making money, that goes well with people who are very engaged in their work. The third one might be problematic, again, because the way we manage people is different. And again, I think we have to teach French people how to empower their team, like you do in US. The fourth one, the difference between doers and thinkers, is fine too, because if you have doers and thinkers in the same team, they will be very complementary, so that's okay. And the last two ones might be problematic, again, because that's the way we communicate, the way we manage emotions, the way we explain, the way we give feedbacks, and that might be a bit that might lead to misunderstandings between the French and the US. So if you want to learn more, I would be happy to give you an access to the platform. You can scan this QR code that will automatically send me an email asking for an access to the tool, or you can send me an email at info@gapsmooth.com, and that will give you an access to this platform where you will be able to identify and work on different topics. For example, I want to give a presentation in France, and you will learn about how to give a successful presentation in France, and how to take into account cultural differences to succeed in your business. If you have any questions or anything, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Thibaut. I think we will, if we have questions, we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So don't hesitate to try the GapsMove platform with the QR code. I think you can also assess which culture are you the closer to, and it's very interesting. So I encourage you to test it. To finish our panel, I'd like to invite Clément Lapierre from Biolabs to join us. And Clément is the senior director for business development and operation for Biolabs in Europe, and based in France. And we wanted to have someone from Biolab so that they can share a bit their story and how they decided to set up within the Paris region as their first European operations after conquering the US market. So Clément, the floor is yours to present Biolabs.
Thank you very much, Jan. So hello everyone. Very nice to meet you. I'm just going to share my screen real quick, that I have a few slides for. Let me know if that works. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, some of you may know Biolabs, and I won't take too long doing this, but I just wanted to give you a quick idea of who we are and what we do first, before diving on expansion and why we've chosen France. So Biolabs is a startup incubator network. At our core, we provide startups with on-demand labs and office space. The idea is that startups get fully equipped office space to use, and more important, fully equipped lab space with equipment, high-end scientific equipment that they can use and access, get training for, we take care of the maintenance, we take care of everything regarding that equipment. We also add a layer of operational services. So anything from waste disposal, CO2 renewal, liquid nitrogen, but also a procurement platform, training, maintenance, documentation on the equipment. All of that is taken care of. And of course, we are very centered around the community. So making sure that our startups can talk with one another, be part of a group, be fostering that innovation ecosystem, which is why we always try to develop into the most vibrant ecosystems that there is. And finally, that also translates into relationships with external members of the ecosystem. So Jan has been mentioning people like Medicine, France Biotech, and all the networks, and we all know them, and we try to make sure that our startups have an easy access to them. People like the APHP, with which we are building our first site in Paris, or Servier, a pharmaceutical company that we're building our second site in the Paris area at large. So that's what we do. We've started in the US in Boston more than 10 years ago, and we've now expanded all across the US continent, and we are now trying to move out of that and expanding in Europe and in Japan as well. But Europe is the core of our current development. We're also really proud to say that we've won the Prix Galien and Twin in 2022 for Best Incubator and Accelerator Space, along with Lab Central. And basically, the three locations that we've chosen in Europe are Paris, Saclay, and Heidelberg, Germany, but that all pivots around France and Paris as a whole. So a quick word on our companies. You can see that we have a very various development stages, but leaning on early stage of development. Most of our startups are somewhere between seed and Series A. And we also have a bias towards therapeutics and human health, but we try to make labs for everyone and make sure that all startups and biotech startups can access the labs. In France, we have 38 startups after 1 year of operations, which is a number that we're really proud of. It's pretty much unheard of, and we're really happy about that. So we also have some of our residents are startups whose name have been said before by Jan, notably. So people like Oaken, Sparring Vision. I've seen a few names that definitely we are working with us already. So we're really happy about that. And so to give you a bit more details on our sites, we have a first site open in Saclay. So the Saclay is a very strong industrial hub south of Paris, where Xavier is located, and they wanted to launch an incubator and worked with us. So we have 1,850 square meters of lab space there, and labs and offices. And Biolabs Hôtel Dieu, which is our core site. So Biolabs Hôtel Dieu is part of the renovation of Paris Hôtel Dieu, which is on the Notre Dame Plaza. So on this 3D that you can see, you have to assume that it's been taken from Notre Dame, so you can literally see the cathedral from the windows. And the idea is that this hospital is the oldest in Europe, which makes it a formidable monument and a terrible modern lab space. So it needs a complete overhaul, which we're part of. And the plan is to open at 10,000 square meters. And here, which is going to be our biggest site in Europe, operation platforms coordinating the deployment of biolabs all across Europe. And we're very excited for that. We have since opened 2 temporary sites to plan for the development of this monster of a site in 2030. And it's going well because since we've opened last year, and we actually filed 2 weeks ago a dossier to be able to extend our lab platform by an extra 1,000 square meters. So we currently have 1,500 square meters of labs and offices, including 1,000 square meters of lab. And we should soon, if everything goes well, get an extra 1,000 square meters of labs. Why Europe and the upcoming European location? So we started with France because we want to make sure that our sites are launched, and France is a really good basis of operations for that. We have mentioned the ecosystemic actors before. There's also, a strong industrial and support, and of course, governmental policies, structures like BPI are really instrumental in our success there. France's startup policy has been going strong for the last 15 years. So we're really seeing the ripening of that ecosystem now into something that really creates a lot of companies. And basically, biolab site need three main things to be able to thrive, which is a strong local ecosystem, pre-existing. We cannot, open it in the middle of nowhere. We need to have pre-existing startups able to provide the site with residents, but also kind of an updraft of VC and industrial actors to make sure that our startups have somewhere where to go, and which is something that we can, and both are factors that we can find in the Paris area. And of course, you need to have a very central and very attractive location. This also has been said by Anne before, but the location is key. We need to be able to, our residents need to be able to hire locally on site and make sure that the sites are easy of access. And this is all stuff that we find in Paris, which is very well deserved and very well easy to access altogether. So those criteria make for a very strong presence of biolabs in Paris and in Saclay. And our expansion is not over in Europe, but also in France. Paris is, of course, the most important biotech city that there is in the country, but there are other locations as well. So yeah, thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. I've seen someone answering asking something in the chat.
Yeah, Michael asked the question, what, if any, requirements, i.e. minimum income, revenue, number of employees, years of incorporation, etc., are foreign, sorry, my chat just got blocked, are foreign US companies required to meet to do business in France? Is this information on the Choose Paris region website?
So that might be a more Jan directed.
Yes.
I wouldn't say there are specific criteria to start thinking about an expansion. We help early stage startups as well as big corporates to expand here. Of course, if there is no, for example, turnover yet, you could have some issues, especially with creating a business bank account here. But as we all know, for a biotech startup, it's difficult to get turnover within the first sometimes 10 to 15 years if you don't have any products. So I wouldn't say no, there's no specific criteria if you want to work with us.
Yeah, so maybe Michael could just connect with you personally, Jan. Is that the correct kind of next step for him? If he has a question to find. So yeah,
sure.
Michael, look in the chat, and I think Jan's email address is there. And so maybe Jan and Cecile can engage with you one-on-one to try to vet any specific questions that you would have on that. We'll do that. And I just want, I just want to acknowledge briefly the time. I personally have a couple of questions for the panel. But in case anyone had an 11 o'clock they have to drop for, we're at that point. But I'm gonna, those of you that can stay on a few extra minutes, I would like to prioritize questions from participants first, and then I'll ask my questions at the end. So Michael, I think you were going to chime in. You were unmuting for a second. Did you want to ask any follow-on question?
Oh, no, I was just saying thank you.
Okay,
So,
you're
I appreciate
welcome.
it.
And maybe to complete on the subject, we know that, and you mentioned it already, Melissa, sometimes it's better for companies to first get some first contact within France, or maybe first clients, to establish that there is a market for your product, or that there is partnerships. So we are willing to facilitate that in the beginning, and maybe see your company establish in 2 or 3 years after, even more. We have some material to help you, depending on what stage you are, and even if you don't have a specific explosion project right now, we can still give you some information or establish a connection and more.
Yeah, and then also kind of hand in hand working with our international trade consultants, that EDPNC has, while connecting with the ecosystem partners introduced today. I think that would be the right balance to take. Do we have any other questions from those on the call? Well, while you're thinking, I'll go ahead and pose mine. So, Jan, you mentioned the ecosystem organization. Excuse my pronunciation. Medicine, is that correct? Medicine, which is
Yes.
more of the networking group. Would it be feasible and open to U.S. companies connecting virtually to try to get friendly with businesses over there and just establish maybe mentorship relationships, just collegial B2B relationships? Is that organization set up where our folks can plug in virtually to attend meetings or anything of that nature?
Well, it's totally possible for a foreign company to become a member of Medicine. Of course, there's a membership fee if you want to be part of that network. However, I think it's better if you are within the ecosystem, because a lot of the events are happening within the Paris region. Especially now they have a big biomanufacturing event that they host every year. They have one on the future of surgery as well. So you will have more benefit if you are a member and if you are within the ecosystem already. But you can totally become a member. And for example, now we see especially a lot of CDMO companies like Lonza or Fujifilm that are becoming member of Medicine so that they can have access to the network of biotech companies and start to build relationships with the health tech startups there.
Great, thanks. My next question has to do with the notified body requirement for the CE mark. Would any of the ecosystem partners have a list of kind of vetted, reputable, notified body partners? This is something that so many companies that I work with have to deal with, and finding of course, as you know, I mean, it's a big issue right now, finding one, but is there a list that exists where it's not that you're advocating or advertising for them, but you know they're legitimate, they're reputable, that I can, have and give to companies that are in need?
Well, I think there's a specific list on the EU website where you can find all these notified body. On our end, we will be able to identify mostly consulting companies that can help to obtain the CE mark.
Right, and
not...
that's what I was referring to. I know that it would be a private sector list for sure, but just from even if that it has to be private sector, but which private sector companies would our companies be best to reach out to, where it's a reliable, reputable company that's been doing business legitimately for a while. I mean, really, sometimes it's just a good private sector list that we're looking for.
Yeah, well, I can share the partners we are working with on these specific subjects to obtain the CE mark for medical devices, or now also for more digital health solutions.
That would be great. Thank you so much. Does anyone else have a last minute thought or question? This information has been just fabulous. Every single person on the panel offered just another layer of depth to our understanding, I will definitely be recommending to the companies that I work with that they watch this recording to get more informed and to reach out. So thank you so much for your time and preparation. And we look forward to engaging with you in the future. I appreciate it. Have a good evening over there in Europe and good day
Thank
to
you,
those of you
everyone.
in North Carolina. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very much, Melissa, for the invitation, and looking forward to collaborate in the future.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Have a good one.